Maydwell in 5 is a weekly microlearning podcast hosted by Jonathan Maydwell, a learning and development strategist with over 15 years of experience helping people and organizations grow. Each 5-minute episode explores one focused idea across learning, leadership, and human growth, blending real stories, reflection, and actionable insight. Rooted in the belief that learning is about coming home to yourself, the show invites listeners to pause, think, and reconnect with purpose, people, and data that actually matters. It's a space for curiosity, clarity, and continuous growth, one reflection at a time. Early in my career, I encountered a challenge I didn't expect, helping students unlearn strategies that once worked but were no longer effective. Math lessons often revealed familiar habits like counting on fingers. That strategy helped students build confidence and understand numbers in early arithmetic. But as mathematical thinking became more complex, that same strategy slowly became a limitation. New approaches appeared in our lessons: visual models, number relationships, and mental math. Yet, many students still returned to counting, not because they couldn't learn something new, because the old strategy felt safe. Progress required patience, encouragement, and repeated opportunities to try something different. Gradually, students began experimenting with new ways to think about numbers. Confidence grew, not only because new skills developed, but because old habits began loosening their grip. That experience revealed an important lesson. Teaching isn't only about helping people learn. Teaching also involves helping them unlearn. Years later, working in leadership development and organizational coaching, I began noticing the same pattern. Most professional challenges aren't caused by a lack of intelligence or effort. They happen because strategies that once worked continue long after their usefulness fades. Teams rely on familiar routines. Leaders repeat past successes. Organizations protect processes that once produced results. But growth eventually asks something different of us. It asks us to reconsider what we've always done, and that can feel uncomfortable. Because habits and mental models often connect closely to confidence and identity, but when leaders anchor their work and purpose, create space for honest dialogue, and examine the evidence together, something important begins to shift. People become more open to new ways of thinking. Learning moves us forward, but unlearning creates the space for it. So how can leaders support unlearning in real environments? I often return to a simple framework that guides much of my work. Clarity leads to reflection, and reflection leads to growth. Start with clarity. Define the purpose behind the work. When people understand what they're working toward, they become more willing to question familiar routines. Next comes reflection. Create space for teams to examine current practices with curiosity rather than judgment. Ask questions like, what's working well? What might be outdated? Where could our habits be limiting progress? Finally, focus on growth. Encourage experimentation. Celebrate progress rather than perfection. When people feel safe trying something new, learning accelerates. Clarity leads to reflection. Reflection leads to growth, and growth often begins when we allow ourselves to release what once worked. Take a moment this week to reflect. What habit, assumption, or routine might no longer support your growth or your team's success? Start a conversation about it. Share your reflection on LinkedIn. Discuss it with your team. Sometimes the most meaningful step forward begins by letting go of something familiar. This has been your Maydwell in 5 for the week of March 9th. Let's keep building learning cultures that grow with purpose, are guided by people, and are informed by data.